Hi guys, welcome back to another Thursday. Today I'm going to go deep into my thoughts and my feelings towards the new BTS B album that just came out last week. I know last week in my previous video when I went to the pop-up store, you guys, I told you that I would film a MV reaction to Life Goes On. But here's the thing, I actually tried filming it and I realized that I am really bad at MV reactions because I just want to take in like all there is in the video, like looking at the boys, the lyrics, like the whole art direction of the whole music video, that I just don't exude any reaction. Like I don't scream or cry or anything like that. So instead of doing that, I thought I'll film me giving you guys like a commentary, like an analysis and about the songs in this album and like what I personally feel about them and what they mean. So yeah. But anyways, right off the bat, do I like this album? Absolutely. I mean, there is no questioning because all BTS albums are great albums. And this B album is the exact kind of genre that I typically listen to. I'm very much someone who is into acoustics and soft like ballad sounds, and you know, this album really has that. So I really enjoy listening to this album, and it's definitely up my alley. I love this album because it is not your usual like BTS-esque album that has like the amazing jaw-dropping choreo and like the songs that are like super upbeat and very loud, like pop music. I think this album is just like on another level because it's self-produced, and also it's an album that is really trying to convey their emotions, like their raw feelings and thoughts towards this whole pandemic situation happening right now, and like what they want to tell their fans. So I think this album is really on another level. It's more personal, and that's what I really like about BTS, because they're not just out here like putting out music for the sake of it, but they do it with like a reason. And yeah, that's why they really are a source of inspiration to me. And the purpose of this album is to bring healing and comfort to people through their music and their lyrics, and I can really see that, you know, from listening to all the songs. So if you guys are wondering why I keep looking here, it's because I have my iPad with like what I really want to share with you guys about this B album, and like just my honest thoughts. So I really wrote down like what I wanted to share, so I do not forget anything. So let's go through the songs and talk about it. So the first song is Life Goes On. This is the title track, so let's give it a little listen. Okay, so Life Goes On, I mean, from the title, you guys already know that this song is about life going on despite, you know, we're living in a pandemic, and pandemic or not, life does go on. I mean, yeah, that is basically what they wanted to tell us. This song is an alternative hip-hop track, and it contains some acoustic guitar sounds. It's a song about hope, and that, you know, one day we will get back to our normal lives again. I mean, what is normal anymore, right? Before COVID kind of hit us. And I really like how the song opens with Jungkook singing about how the world is, you know, the world has come to a stop. And it's so true, you know, life really just hit us in March, where suddenly we couldn't carry on with like doing what we usually do. We can't travel, we can't go out like to like concerts and stuff, for example, like crowded places. Like that's just not something that we can see in our typical like life right now. And the song proceeds to talk about spring didn't know how to wait. And you know, this really emphasizes on that whole idea that we are all like stuck in isolation, and because of that, you know, time just flew by very fast. Think about it. In February, March, the pandemic hit us. We were stuck in lockdown, and then fast forward, look at us, we're in the end of 2020 already. So it's really, really crazy. And it also has the lyrics that says, "It doesn't wait, time just flies by." And I think for Life Goes On, my favorite part is the part about from the pre-chorus to the chorus, because this is that bulk of message from BTS that brings us like that source of like comfort and relief. And it says, "Close your eyes for a moment, hold my hand, to the future we run away." I think it's, you know, that source of hope that when we close our eyes, it's like time will flash by, and before you know it, we will be in the future and we will be happy. So I think that is what they're trying to say. They sing about how the day will come back around as if nothing happened. So that is that hopeful wish and feeling that we all want. I also really like Yoongi's verse because it's a confession to ARMY, and he says that, you know, even if the world has changed, nothing between us has changed. And I really like that line because it's true that, you know, we are living in this world where so much has changed because of COVID, but despite that, the bond, the support that goes between BTS and the ARMY is always going to stay the same. So I really like that line. And I think especially for them, because they're artists, they're not able to meet up with their fans and hold tours and sing and perform, and that is something that they really love to do. So yeah, so let's move on to the next song, which is Fly Me to My Room. So okay, so Fly Me to My Room is actually in a Korean title. It's 내 방을 여행하는 법. So 내 방을 is my room. 여행하는 is to fly. So fly to my room. I think for me, the first time I heard this title, I thought it's about being stuck in isolation in your room. I think in the pandemic, everybody can relate to that. We're all just stuck in our rooms all the time because we can't really go out. So that is kind of the reality. And this track is an R&B song, and it's about traveling home and looking for something new to explore. So I feel like a lot of us can relate to this in these unprecedented times, because we're living in isolation. And just from the first verse, when Jimin and Tae sing about the frustration of isolation and how the entire year got stolen from us, I think it kind of has that tone of anger and unfairness, like, because it's not our fault that the pandemic happened, but we feel like our life kind of got taken away from us in a sense, like that freedom to roam, that freedom to do what we want and what we wish to do. So that has that lingering feeling there. And they wonder what they can do in their rooms. You want to leave but you can't, which is something that we can all relate to. So yeah, in 2020, this year is just basically has ripped us of all our opportunities for adventures. And yeah, that's our year basically being forced into our homes to work, to study. Even for me personally as a student, it was my first year in university, but there is no opportunity to have an orientation, at least for me, but my sister did have an orientation online. But as you can see, a lot of things changed and experiences also changed. So yeah. And another part of this song I want to talk about was Yoongi and Hobi's verse. The way Hobie ate that verse, I think for Fly to My Room, I really like the way he rapped his verse. I think it was very unique and it was something new coming from him because I don't think I've heard him rap in this way before, so I thought that was really nice. And I love Yoongi's part where he said sometimes the room becomes an emotional trash can and hugs me. So as much as we hate being stuck in our rooms all the time, ultimately this is kind of like your comfort place. It's like a place where you can feel safe, and I think that is very true. At the end of the day, you feel very suffocated in here, but you can also find solace and comfort in your own room. Yeah. So Hobie's part on how I just have to change my thoughts. This is a journey that only I can enjoy. It speaks a lot about optimism to me because being stuck in your room, you can think that, yeah, I'm trapped in my room and this sucks. But you can also think that, you know, maybe there is something new that I can try or explore. It's about changing your perception about, being in your room, and who knows, you might come to enjoy your time even in isolation. So it's about having that change in mindset. Yeah. So overall, I think the song is so nice. I also like, in terms of the melody, I like the part where they say like, do 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 fly to my room. Yeah, I like that sudden like raise in tone. I would say this song to me is hard to sing, like because of it's really high. The song is really high, but I think it's very nice, and the fact that they are able to pull it off is amazing. So that is just something that I caught when I first heard this song. So the next song is a little sadder, I would say. This is Blue and Grey, and it was written by Taehyung. So let's give it a listen. Where's my angel? 하루의 끝을 들리운 Someone come and save me please. 지친 하루의 한숨뿐 I just wanna be happier. 차가운 날 녹여줘. 수없이 내민 나의 손 색깔 없는 메아리. Okay, so Blue and Grey. I really love this song. I think when I first heard this album, like from head to toe, I think the first song that got me like putting on repeat was Blue and Grey, because I am someone who loves acoustic sounds, and this one starts off with the guitar picking, which I really like. And yeah, it's basically one of my first favorites. I really like ballads, and this is exactly like a soft acoustic ballad kind of song. It just felt very calming and relaxing from the start. And I think something I wanted to bring in also is that you guys should definitely go read each member's interview on Weverse magazine. I will drop the link below because I think it really goes up close and personal with each member, talking about the songs that they wrote in this album. And I think it gives you a better perspective of like how they got into like writing this song and like the meanings behind them, like not just from what I say, but like from what they experience while writing all these songs. So I think the interviews were really nice to read, and yeah, I learned a lot about them through those interviews, so do give them a read. So this song was written, according to the magazine, it was during one of his lowest points in life, and overall I would say this song is about like a burnout. Like, as a creative person, you can experience burnout and you can feel lost in like what you're doing. So I think this song is really what it is about. And from the title, you know that this song is going to be sad. It's about blue and gray, and they both symbolize sadness and dullness. Yeah, so in this song he shares about wanting to be happier. I just wanna be happier. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people can relate to this song because when you work endlessly, and especially if you're creative and you work endlessly, you can feel the burnout, and sometimes you think to yourself, like, is it worth it, like, doing this for so long? And do you feel happy doing this because of like the pent-up stress that you get, the anxiety that you get? So I think this song is really what he's trying to say. And yeah, sometimes, you know, the going gets tough, and because of that you struggle with these thoughts. So yeah, I really like the way Hobie rapped his part. I think he did it in a way where he was kind of like saying it out rather than like rapping or singing, so it kind of felt more like conversational in that sense, and I really like that. I think what is interesting is he used that metaphor of a gray rhino to describe potentially about, you know, things coming your way, but then you are standing there without focus. You are being lost in your thoughts, your own thoughts, and you have a blurred vision in front of you. So yeah, I think that was very cute. Next song, it's Telepathy. So let's give it a listen, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
매번 같은 하루들 중에 너를 만날 때 가장 난 행복해. 매번 다른 일상들 속에 너란 사람은 내게 가장 특별해.
Okay, so Telepathy. This song was written, no, this one was produced by Sugar. And when I first listened to this track, the intro got me thinking. Like, the first thing that came to my mind was Stranger Things. I don't know why, but it just gave me Stranger Things vibes because it made me feel like a retro arcade. Like, that's what I was picturing in my mind when I first heard the first few beats of this song. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not entirely wrong because this song came up to, it said that it is a retro pop disco hit, so I am not that far off from Stranger Things retro arcade. Yeah, so this is a love song for ARMYs, and it's an expression of how their happiest moments is when they are with their fans. And I would say this is kind of like a serenade to the ARMY, to their fans. And yeah, it's just one of the more light-hearted songs, I would say, in this album. So right from the intro, it starts with "You're the most special person to me," and that already is, well, it's like your heart just skips a beat. Yeah, and in the first verse, you know, Sugar raps about how, because of how much time he has on his hands, thanks to the pandemic, he was able to write this song. And he says, yes, this song is for you. So he is like further like telling the listeners that yes, this song was for ARMYs, it was for you. I wrote this song because I was thinking of you. So that was very nice. I really liked that part. The second verse with Hobie and JK is about, let's put aside COVID for a moment. Let's worry less and go on a trip down memory lane and have fun together. So I really like that. It's about telling armies like, let's forget about this whole like depressing situation happening right now, and let's take a trip down and think about the good times we had together. So I think that was really nice. And yeah, I think one of the other verses that was really sweet was how they sang about, you know, we are far from each other, but even if we are not by each other's side, we are together, because we are obviously not able to meet with BTS and everybody's just far across the world, different places from BTS, but we know that even if we are not be able to meet, we are still together, we are still able to communicate and support each other. So that basically sums up this title, the title of this track, Telepathy. You know, it's like that connection that ARMYs and Bangtan have together. So I really like this song. ARMYs think of BTS, BTS thinks of ARMY. So yeah. The next song is one of my favorites too. I keep saying they're all my favorites because they really are. But the next song is Disease or Pyong, and it's written by this guy here, Hobie. So let's take a listen.
뭔가 놓친 듯해 커피 한 모금으로 불안함을 했어 안 흔들린 스트레스 내게 갑자기 다가온 불편한 행복 24 hours 시간 One for the love, two for the show Just like I'm so fine Every day 나를 위로해 다 똑같은 사람이야 ain't so special Amen keep on to step 차분하게 모두 치료해보자고 나의 뼈
Okay, so Pyong. When I first heard this song, I already knew like this was a song produced by Hobie, because clearly if you listen to like his mixtape, the kind of songs he's written, like Ego, you know that this is his jam, like this is his kind of vibe, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can right off the bat tell that this is such a hymn song. I think the genre of tunes that he writes always has that it's that like old school hip hop vibe. So it's very easy to know that, you know, this is a song that he writes. I feel like it's kind of like his style. And when I first saw this title, as someone who studied Korean, I thought that this song was because it's Pyong. Pyong is bottle in Korean. There's a counting unit for bottles, and I was like, why is the song about bottles? But after that, it says it's disease, and I really like the play on the word that he had for this track, because it's like dis-ease is like the opposite of ease, so it's like not having ease, and it's also like the word disease, which is like a sickness. So there is just so many like interpretations of this word, which I really think is so interesting. Yeah, so basically this song is about the conflicting feelings of work, and I think that is something that a lot of people can relate to, especially in the uncertainty of this pandemic. This song is also about a hope for the future. So right from the first verse, Hobie raps about endless rest, uncomfortable happiness came to me, 24 hours and we have a lot of time. So, you know, living in a COVID world, you feel like, okay, yay, thanks to COVID, I can stay at home. Like as a student, like, oh yay, I can chill. Or like as a person who works, you'll be like, oh yay, now I can stay at home and work, and you know, I don't have to face like my colleagues or my bosses. But at the same time, you feel like, yay, now I have all this rest time. But you also want to work at the same time, because after resting for a while, like for some people I feel, after you rest for a while, you just feel like, why is this just nothing to do? And then you want to work or you want to do something. Like, that is how I feel. So as a person who likes working, I feel this all the time. Yeah. So like Hobie, as an artist, he feels like suddenly you don't have to do tours, it's all cancelled. You finally get a break, and I mean, in a way you are happy because you get this break from a lot of intense like schedules and work. But at the same time, you have this, he says he's hungry for achievements every day. So it's that very conflicting feeling of wanting to work but wanting to rest. But when you rest, you want to work. Yeah. And even in RM's verse, he says, my heart needs a vacation. Oh, but just do your job. And a friend named Rest, I never liked him. So even in his verse, he says, you know, he needs a break. But he's like, oh, you should just do your job and continue like working on what you need to do. And he says, a friend named Rest, I never liked him. So you have a friend called Rest, but at the same time you don't want rest. So it's again about that conflict in your feelings about work. And I think in general this song is about your feelings towards work and rest, and it's kind of like a sickness. It's like a disease because it's like you want it but you don't want it. So it's like make up your mind, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's complicated and it's unexplainable feeling, but I feel like a lot of people can relate to it. I mean, I hope it's not just me. I don't think it's just the workaholics that would feel that way, but I think as someone who like, I mean, how can you just like rest forever? Like, there is no way you could do that, right? I mean, you would eventually feel bored about doing just resting forever. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think one thing that really impressed me in Disease is the bridge. I mean, first of all, let's talk about how Jimin wrote that verse in 3 to 4 minutes. Like, guys, what do you do in 3 to 4 minutes? Because I think I make coffee within that amount of time. But he just wrote an amazing verse. And not only that, the melody of this verse, the tune, oh my god, it was so good because it just suddenly went like so high. Yeah, so I really like this. It's like sick and tired. Yeah, I'm not good at singing, but you know, you guys should go listen to it and you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, incredible. Next we have the second last song, which is Stay. So let's hear it.
꿈이었을까 널 본 것 같아 눈 뜨면 다시 아무도 없는 밤 You are, I know you always stay 저 구름이 지나간 자리에 Stay 마른 입술로 너에게 말해 Stay, 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 stay Always Yeah, I know you always stay
Okay, so when I first heard this song, it starts off very calming, very nice, relaxing feeling, just like how I feel when I listen to like Fly to My Room or Blue and Grey. But then it gets crazy because as you listen to it, it gets more upbeat. It's like your heart races, and then suddenly it becomes like a clubbing song, like EDM. So wow, it's just such a interesting way of how they like created this song because of how like the tempo just suddenly changes. The meaning behind this song is about BTS missing their fans after not seeing them for a long time. And the key phrase that I like in this song is, I know wherever you are, I know you will always stay. So no matter where in the world you are, you will always stay and be by their side. I think as artists, they are also worried that, you know, not being able to connect with their fans would make them a little bit more distant from them. And what if some people just stop supporting them, or like they just don't have that connection anymore? So I think as artists, they would feel that way, or I think they would feel that way. But he says here, can't I see you? I put my hands together. Tomorrow that does not change. So this really shows, like, can't I see you? They really miss their fans, and he puts his hand together. I assume that means like they're praying that, you know, let this pandemic go away so that I can meet with my fans again. But tomorrow that does not change, and that is the reality of the situation, because day by day the pandemic just gets worse. I mean, vaccines are being made, but there is just no change yet, as of yet. So that's just the reality of things. Yep. But this song is basically knowing that, you know, no matter what, ARMYs are here to stay, and they will not leave, and they will continue to support BTS. So that's the song. Finally, to end off the album on a light note, BTS decided to put in the single Dynamite. And I think this is a very nice touch to the end of this whole entire album, because it's kind of like this celebration trumpet. Like, you know, after listening to the whole track list, you come to this end where it's like, yay, it's party time. You know, it's kind of like a celebration that COVID has ended and we are able to meet with BTS again. So I would say that's what it feels like. And yeah, I think overall this album was just so raw and emotionally filled, and there is no way that no one can like this album. So yeah, sorry, construction starting again, sucks. Yeah, so they really poured their heart and their soul into producing this album, and it just really shows. My favorite songs at the moment would definitely be Fly to My Room and Life Goes On. So these two songs are kind of like what I'm feeling right now. So yeah, and because of construction work, I guess thankfully we made to the end of the video. That calls for the end of this video, I guess. I hope you guys like my commentary. It was long, but I hope you guys actually stuck with me to the end. And yeah, thank you so much, and remember to click the like button and subscribe. I'll leave a link to Spotify down below, so you can go check out the B album. Highly recommend it. And if you want to stick around for more content, yeah, just hit the notification bell and you'll get to know more about like videos when I post them. And yeah, I'll be doing an unboxing of the B album very soon. It's reaching me, so yeah, I will unbox it for you guys, and I look forward to that. I hope you guys will stay safe no matter where you are, and I'll see you again next Thursday. Bye!